Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This video is about how Jews look, how I know that these victims of the crash were almost certainly Jews. And it's about why I wear a mask on my face most of the time. It has to do with them putting red on my lips, which is something that I don't want to be there, obviously. Because I'm a very masculine person, so when they do that, it makes it so I'm inclined to kind of fire back and to get mad, what have you. And it gets lost in translation to a large degree. Okay, so they changed my voice to sound gayish, sound whitewashed, like a lot of Jews sound. And also when we look at the victims of this car crash, okay, we see that one of their names is Olive, another one is Ada or Ad Alpha. Another one has the last name of Katz. I never met anyone named Olive in my life. Closest thing to it was the Popeye cartoon, right? Olive oil. People just don't name their children Olive. What are the odds? And is something that I've been talking about in my videos, the oil of joy and how it connects to olive oil in the Bible, and so on and so forth. You also have the last name of Katz. So people are being killed one way or another by people who kill people in certain patterns historically. This goes way back. It's not just Lincoln and in Ford Theater and Kennedy being killed in a Lincoln or whatever it is. There's all kinds of stuff all throughout history of people being killed on certain dates and people with certain names, what have you. But it's important to note that they killed these crypto Jew females, and it's whites, Jews, and LGBT people doing, especially English people, especially people in America, especially Israelis. And they did it for their occult ritual game. It's a very sick game. And when I was probably in my early 20s, they had tried to quote unquote warn me, saying that they're playing a game, they want me to interfere. Well, I don't give a shit if you're playing a game or not. I'm Jesus, and who are you? You're just an average person. Okay, I don't care if you're Jew or not. Like that, not impressed, right? I'm the Messiah. I'm the Son of God. All of you together don't impress me, no matter what race you are, what sexual orientation, you name it. So now, why did I put these pictures on the screen? Well, I wanted you to see that typically what we see is Jews look like they don't take life very seriously. They look a bit scatterbrained. A lot of them have, autism. They're on the spectrum of autism and other developmental disorders, maybe Down syndrome. They have various developmental disorders. However, a lot of them are good at what they do. Maybe they're an accountant. Maybe they're into computer science. So, for whatever reason, they tend to do pretty well there. Okay, so it's not something that interferes with their ability to do their job, at least quite often. But they are concerned with image, and so are rich white people who are trying to show everyone up. So is the gay community. It's not just the Met Gala and gay fashion shows that are taken more seriously by them than gay parades. It's not just Gucci and all these companies that have a gay theme in their fashion. Fashion is very much dominated by the LGBT community, the entertainment industry, very much what have you. But they are trying to play me out to make themselves feel better no matter how you slice it. And that also includes causing me to have pain. And it also includes killing Jews. Now, again, I've said it several times at least. October 7th was something that Israel knew about to some degree. That's on record. It's something that rich whites, Jews, and LGBT people almost certainly plotted. I'd be shocked if that wasn't the case here. And obviously Hamas basically works for them. Okay? In fact, the word Hamas is a play on words for Ha Alpha Magic, right? Where the M stands for magic, like Ronald McDonald, right? Making the M. And the word magic itself is a play on words for M Cage. Or excuse me, for I'm Cage. Then, of course, you have Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat, and you have the MK for MK Ultra. There's all kinds of connections there. They like to play that stupid game there. It's not just old people playing charades and Scrabble and other games like that, right? It's something that the occult does. I'd go as far as to say they got those games from the occult, from scribes and sages and people who were interested in that kind of stuff. And, a lot more old people are evil than you think they are. Okay, they don't just sit around playing bingo all day. Some of these people plot to kill people in a sort of organized way, in a calculated way, to kind of reinforce the culture. If you think about culture and popular culture, there's a bunch of old people bragging about their life and their culture and their family members, and they're very much, not every old person is super involved or something, but lots of them are. They're very much involved in the process of oppressing people, especially very rich people. And so this video was originally going to just be about those four little girls who were killed by these people with the car accident because of their names, because of the game they're playing. The word game rhymes with the word name. And you have, the gospel and the good book, right? The Bible is from Biblos, meaning book, and the Bible is Bible, and there's all kinds of connections there. And so they talk about the fact that the Lord is his name, which goes back to words, it goes back to ideas, it goes back to characteristics, and it goes back to connecting certain ideas. And there's anagrams and there's cryptograms, and I brought this up many times. The names in the Bible have meaning. Look up the meaning of names, right? Jeshurun means the upright one. Moses, and there's other meanings, right? David, all these names in the Bible have meaning. And old people tend to be these people from the tree of knowledge more, right? The ancient serpent, the devil, right? Age and experience, and so on and so forth. So they try to substitute the experience that comes with age for having moral wisdom, the moral wisdom to do God's work. So there's this ancient serpent, the devil, and then here's Adam, right? He comes lately, right? He's a more recent creation. And the serpent, tricks him. There comes Abel, and he's not tricked. And then Cain kills him because Cain, right? Cain is like, it's like the staffs in Exodus that were thrown on the ground and they turned into snakes. It was by Aaron, who was Moses' brother, and it's also by the sorcerers in Egypt. And the tree itself, right, where you make the staff from the tree. Okay, and you have the branch, and the branch is an idea in the Old Testament as well, I believe, Zechariah, what have you. So there's all kinds of connections there. And you see how this is the thinking of the authors of the Bible. And the names have meaning. You got to connect things together, right? Things are being quoted from the Old Testament. And you say, what does that mean? What does it mean when Christ said, Eloi, Eloi? He says, why have you forsaken me? He's quoting Psalms. And it's in context. And Psalms connects to other things. So there's all kinds of connections here. That is the way of thinking in a Judeo-Christian culture. And if you look at how the King James Bible, gave us some of our went into helped create modern English. Okay, you look at how much Christians have contributed to the culture. You see that it is insane to think that I'm magically mistaken. Obviously I'm correct. I use the word magically not because I like magic. I hate magic because I don't want them to take me out of context, or I want to make it harder for them to take me out of context. So as they fuel me, part of the effect it has is that I'm speaking in a way that's less sharp, that's less natural. I sound more like a white person or a gay person or a Jewish person or a weird person or mentally ill person than I naturally sound. Okay? That goes back to their complex. I've been calling them out on this for years. Every time I make a video these days for years, I start off by saying, remember that they're changing my voice. And they still haven't stopped because they're that fucked in the head. And it's just like with all this starvation and suffering in the world, their way of thinking kills people, gets people raped, gets kids trafficked, you name it, all kinds of horrible things happen. All the poverty, that's a result of the way of thinking that they have. It's that ancient serpent, the devil thinking. The word dragon is a play on words for dragon and gay, Jew, guy, nerd. Believe it or not, it all connects together. The language is a huge part of their system, right? The Tower of Babel, okay? The water in Revelation 17 that stands for the people, the nations, the multitudes of languages, right? The figurative speaking of the Bible, the parables, the riddles, the puzzles, the sayings of the wise, the proverbs. It's a huge part of it, huge part. And when people get immersed in it, like in the church, and they get older and older, and they keep looking at it and thinking about it, okay, what ends up happening is some of these people are crazy people who form secret societies, who, manipulate people. They know the game very well. They know how it's built. They know how to manipulate things. And over the years, they've reached a critical mass. Regardless of how many of them are doing it originally, I don't know. But by the time we get to the modern day, there are millions and millions of people who are part of the process of manipulating dating and banking and thinking, and who is taught by who, and who works where and why, and what schools teach, and the programs, the curriculum. They manipulate these things for a certain effect. And they've been adjusting it over time for many generations. Even the Pope the other day talked about generational guilt. I haven't seen that video yet, but you can bet your bottom dollar that he's leaving that part out.